This is to the media, to your twisted, immoral society, and your communist government. We hate you all, and we are ready for war. We will always speak up and expose the corruption, the authoritarianism, the tyranny, and the hate.
Truth dispels lies, as light dispels darkness.
From an undisclosed location, deep in an occupied zone, you are listening to Covert Radio.
They killing us. They killing us. Man, they killing us, cuz. They killing us. They killing us. Look at this demon on the screen. Look at this motherfucking lifeless, demonic animal. Look at him. Let me blow the picture up a little bit here. Let's see. Come on. Come on. Tavafier or whatever your name is. Now, I think his name is he has a normal name. My man's here. They killing us. Just went on a shooting spree that lasted all day. He killed a 9-year-old girl. He killed a 20-year-old mother. He killed a journalist who was reporting on his murder earlier in the day, and he killed he hurt one of the assistants, the photographer for the Spectrum News 13 in Orlando. This is breaking news. This is Covert Radio. It's 2/23/23. 22323. It's an amazing number. It's an amazing number. And I hope we get through it unscathed. 32, 23, 33. These are all occultic magic numbers. So just keep your head low today. It's early. It's like midnight. So I mean it just turned the 23rd. So there's only one reason I'm doing this. I'm not here to talk about this demon. I'm not here to, mourn another victim of somebody who should not be on the street. This is a warning. That's all I want to accomplish here is a warning. That's why you guys pay me to be a filter. And I'm going to do that for you. Even though you don't pay me, I'm still going to do this for you. Because I really want you to understand the narrative, where this goes, and the fact that we're almost at 100 deaths so far at the hands of animals who should not have guns, who should not be on the streets. But because of another criminal and a year of rioting and a communist faction called BLM, we have an unstable sanctuary city map all across the United States that is reminiscent of the craziest movies you've ever seen in your life. Did you ever see Demolition Man? Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone and I forget the girl's name, Sandra Bullock, a couple other people. It's set off into the future, and Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes were frozen, chronologically frozen or cryogenically. I mean, cryogenics. They were frozen, and long story short, there was a whole ploy about why Wesley Snipes, who's the bad guy, Sylvester Stallone is the cop, why Wesley Snipes was unfrozen to cause all these problems in a peaceful, futuristic city. Then to get scum like him, they had to get an old archaic cop out of the freezer, wake up Sylvester Stallone, and only an old school cop can hunt an old school criminal like the character that Wesley Snipes played. And there's another movie, Police Academy, where I think it's Police Academy 5 or 6. It was called, I think it was Citizens on Patrol, where all these gangs took over the cities. And, you know, there was a common theme in the police academies. Even though they're comedies, it was still, you know, it was basically about cities being overthrown by criminals. And it was to lower the property costs so that people can come in and gentrify areas and buy up real estate for pennies on the dollar, or knock down old projects that are only 5 stories tall so that they can build projects that are now 20 stories tall, which is the big plan here. That's what a lot of these sanctuary cities are turning into. There's a lot of real estate that's going to switch hands here really soon. That's why it's impossible for average folks right now today to try to get a home loan. And I'm not getting into that. That's not what this is about. I want you to look at this animal on the screen who just killed a 9-year-old girl. He killed her mother, or shot her mother. There's 5 people. I know 3 of them are dead. And he's been on a shooting spree all day. Here's another picture of him here. Look at the smirk. This is, it's unbelievable. But again, there's a reason I'm doing this. I'm not here breaking news because I want to break news. It's not that. I want to warn you about something. And I want to point something out that I've noticed between reading, and this is just the last few hours here. I'm still waiting. For whatever reason, nobody will release the Spectrum News 13 reporter that was killed. This has been hours and hours ago. Even though I know it's still developing, this is like WESH 1 hour ago. You can see on the screen. Here's the New York Times 2 hours ago. These articles are being written and updated. Here's Spectrum 13, which is the reporter and the photographer who was killed, and they won't release the reporter's name for some reason. 7 hours ago. I'm positive that the family has been made aware, but why won't they release the reporter's name? That this animal right here had killed. And they were only there to do a news story about an earlier murder that this animal had committed. Why won't Spectrum News release the name of the reporter? And I'm not saying they're not going to do it. This is 49 minutes ago. You can see right here. This is the Spectrum News 13 website. Spectrum News 13 crew member, a 9-year-old girl, had been killed in Pine Hill shootings. There's actually 3 people dead. That's the other thing I've noticed. There's a lot of conflicting stories and storylines, but there's one thing that's pretty common, and that's what I want to warn you about here. But let me click on this. They should have it right. It was their reporter that got killed 7-8 hours ago now. Spectrum News 13, and you know what? I'm going to refresh it just to make sure it's the most recent. Last updated at 11:16 p.m. on February the 22nd. It is currently 12:35 a.m. on the 23rd, so this wasn't that long ago. According to Orange County Sheriff John Mina, 2 members of a Spectrum News 13 crew at the scene of a homicide investigation were shot Wednesday afternoon. One of the 2 has died. It was the reporter that has died. But for some reason, they will not release the name of the reporter that this animal has killed, along with a 9-year-old girl. Let me continue here. What you need to know: 2 Spectrum News 13 crew members and a mother and her 9-year-old girl were shot Wednesday in Pine Hills. According to the Orange County Sheriff, John Mina, one of the Spectrum News employees and the 9-year-old girl are dead. The news crew was in Pine Hills to report on a homicide investigation from earlier in the day. A suspect identified as 19-year-old Keith Melvin Moses was taken into custody at the scene and is facing at least one homicide charge. He is believed to have been involved in all 3 shootings. This article, I've read Time, I've read the New York Times, this is Spectrum 13. They all do consistently say 2 things. And that's what I want to warn you about. Let's see here. At 19, and we're talking about this animal right here, the one who's smirking right here. I'd like to know what this cop is thinking right here. See, I'm all for capital punishment. I'm all for take this animal out back and do what got to be done. But that's not what's going to happen. He should have never been on the street to begin with, according to his lengthy and violent criminal record. But he's going to go into the Concrete Hotel. He's going to have a lot of weed to smoke every day. If he wants to do heroin or fentanyl or pills, all of that's going to be made available. He'll have internet access. He'll have a cell phone. Friends and family's going to be there. He'll have food, 3 meals. He's going to have health care. That's where he's going. For killing innocent people, including a reporter and a 9-year-old girl. At 19, he has a lengthy criminal history that includes gun charges, aggravated battery, and assault with a deadly weapon, burglary, and grand theft charges. Deputies were at the scene investigating the 11:17 a.m. discovery of a woman who had been shot to death in the 6100 block of Hialeah Street. So the suspect is not saying much right now, Mina said. It is unclear if he knew they were news media or not. We're still trying to work it all out. Of course he's not going to say anything. He's going to say, they killing, I want my attorney, cuz. I didn't do nothing, cuz. That's what he's going to say. And is he going to be out on the street again? Is it no money, no bail, right? Travaria was let's see the pictures of him in his football uniform when he was 8 years old and his 5th grade graduation on what a great kid he was. And come on, let's go through all of that. Let's say what a good guy he is. What a good guy. What about the 9-year-old girl that's dead? What about her mother? What about an innocent news reporter who was working? But again, this is what I want to warn you about. But I want to play something for you here. Because again, this is why you pay Covert Radio the big bucks that you don't pay me. But this is why. Because we're going to do some discernment here. And I want you to dial in. I want you to get a nice deep breath. And I want you to try to focus on a certain frequency here. And I want you to tell me how this makes you feel. Let me see if you guys
My
can
name is Susan Orfanos. My son was Tel Orfanos. We lost him last night at the borderline shooting. My son was in Las Vegas with a lot of his friends and he came home. He didn't come home last night, and I don't want prayers. I don't want thoughts. I want gun control, and I hope to God nobody else sends me any more prayers. I want gun control. No more guns. Thank you.
How does that make you feel? This is from 2018. This is from 2018. Susan Orfanos. She was the mother, or is the mother, of the Thousand Oaks shooting victim. There's no tears here. Again, I'm not questioning anything other than how this makes you feel. And I want you to tune into a discerning frequency here. And I guess, does this make you feel odd? Is something off here?
Orfanos, we lost him last night at the borderline shooting. My son was in Las Vegas with a lot of his friends and he came home. He didn't come home last night, and I don't want prayers. I don't want thoughts. I want gun control, and I hope to God nobody else sends me any more prayers. I want gun control. No more guns. Thank you.
Is this, legit? Is it not? I mean, again, I'm just asking you how it makes you feel, because anytime you have demons who should not be on the street, who should not have access to weapons, who are not law-abiding citizens, who have an extremely long and unbelievably long record, considering he's only 19 years old, for a propensity towards violence and hurting people and hurting innocent people. Why is this animal on the street? There's a common theme that across every article that I read. And I want you to understand, if you are a law-abiding, gun-owning citizen of the United States, which is your right to bear arms, that's not what this channel is. I'm just stating a fact of the Constitution. It's an inalienable right that we all have as American citizens, as long as you're a law-abiding citizen. There's a common theme I noticed in every one of the articles I came across so far. Like I said, this is only a few hours long here. And again, this is the New York Times. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff that we just went over from the Spectrum News site. We're just going to pick it up here. He said it was unclear why the 5 victims who were shot on Wednesday were targeted. The 20-year-old woman was an acquaintance of the gunman, Sheriff Mina said, but officials are still investigating a motive in that killing. He added that there was no apparent connection between the killer and the 4 other people he shot that day. It is also unclear whether the gunman knew the reporter and the photographer that were in the vehicle. It's unclear if he knew they were journalists. The sheriff said the vehicle doesn't really look like a news vehicle to me. So, I mean, okay. And then they go on to say, the sheriff said, no one in our community, not a mother, not a 9-year-old, certainly not news professionals, should become the victim of gun violence in our community. That's the key trigger word right there. When deputies found Mr. Moses, sheriff said. He was armed with a handgun, which we believe will link him to these cases as well. Mr. Moses' criminal history includes charges of aggravated battery, assault with a deadly weapon, burglary, grand theft, gun violations, on and on and on. He's 19 years old. And here it does say the names of the victims were not immediately released. But again, we're on 10 hours now. Here's what I want to bring attention to. This is another tragic reminder that journalism is a dangerous business and that criminals and those that are subjects of reporting can become violent towards reporters who are doing their jobs. We all urge reporters in the field to take extra precaution and redouble efforts to work safely. In Washington, and this is what I want to talk about. In Washington, the White House reacted Wednesday night to the news that there were journalists among the victims in the latest spat of gun violence. Do not allow them to do this. I'm sick and tired of these communists and Zionists wiping their ass with the Constitution, and they're taking animals like this who are clearly mentally deranged, who should not be on the street, who should be locked in a cell somewhere or in a mental institution, and then they just have a blanket term that they can continuously use called gun violence. Gun violence? Yes, we need to do something about gun violence. Gun violence. Not the broken criminal system, criminal justice system, not the broken mental health system, not the broken pharmaceutical system, not the broken income to debt ratio system, not the fact that we're all debt slaves, not the fact that you show kids dishes full of caviar, but they can't even get a job to make $7 an hour. Not the culture of violence and the culture of guns and the culture of murder and gangs and drug dealing. We've got to do something about gun violence. Like this mother here, she doesn't want prayers. She don't know more prayers. This could be completely legit. In my gut, there's something off here. We're going to watch this one more time.
Last night at the borderline shooting, my son was in Las Vegas with a lot of his friends and he came home. He didn't come home last night, and I don't want prayers. I don't want thoughts. I want gun control, and I hope to God nobody else sends me any more prayers. I want gun control. No more guns. Thank you.
We have a lot more to talk about other than no more guns and gun violence. We need to talk about a broken system and a communist and Zionist controlled front to de-police our streets, to overthrow our local governments, to flood our cities with dangerous people who are not vetted, who allow animals like this onto the street at 19 years old, who have such a proven history and propensity to violence that he should be in an institution somewhere. There's a lot we have to talk about. Do not allow them to use these umbrella terms. They're never going to stop until we're disarmed, we're under medical tyranny, and we're soulless creatures like Amalia the Amalgamation. I'm Covert Radio. We got an army you can see and an army you don't know nothing about.
This is to the media, to your twisted, immoral society, and your communist government. We hate you all, and we are ready for war. We will always speak up and expose the corruption, the authoritarianism, the tyranny, and the hate.
Truth dispels lies as light dispels darkness.
From an undisclosed location, deep in an occupied zone, you are listening to Covert